Hello, this is Zahir Alam. Welcome you all on Frankly Speaking. My guest today is Ms. Jennifer Jones, President of Rotary International for the year 2022-23, who is currently visiting Bangladesh. She is the first woman to hold this office in the organization's 117-year history. Jennifer Jones is the founder and president of Media Street Productions. It's an award-winning 27-year-old media company in Windsor, Ontario. That's from Canada. She is a member of the Rotary Club of Windsor, Roseland. Working alongside political figures, celebrities, and global leaders, Jennifer has raised awareness and hundreds of millions of dollars to eradicate disease, support peace, and provide clean water and sanitation. She was the chair of Board of Governors of University of Windsor. She has been recognized for her service with the YMCA Peace Medallion. Jennifer Jones holds a Doctor of Laws. We welcome Jennifer Jones, President of Rotary International. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
My pleasure also, and it's deeply privileged that you're on Frankly Speaking today.
Thank you.
First of all, I'm interested about the purpose of your visit this time in Bangladesh.
Sure. Well, my husband and I, our very first visit to your beautiful country, and we arrived late last night, so we're quickly catching up today, starting to see some of the community. We embarked on what I'm terming the Imagine Impact Tour,
Okay.
and we started in India about 2.5 weeks ago, and then traveled into Pakistan, and then ending here before heading back to the United States for a short visit.
Let us briefly know about your action plan.
So, in essence, Rotary has 7 areas of focus that we align all of the members, our 1.4 million members, behind. And those 7 areas relate directly to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So things like providing clean water and sanitation, basic education and literacy, disease prevention, maternal and child care. The environment is our newest area of focus. And so we align behind all of these things so that we can make sure that we're putting massive energy into each one of them and encouraging our members to do large-scale, sustainable projects in each of our areas of focus. So right now, what I'm spending my time doing is going to 7 different areas, plus polio as a standalone, because
Okay.
it's our largest corporate initiative. I can tell you a little bit more about that in a second. But to 7 different parts of the world, and looking at what our people of action are doing in the field, and in each one of those areas, we'll focus on one specific item and some of the large-scale things that are going on.
So how do you view the current situation? Obviously, this has been very challenging circumstances, especially we just in the midst of pandemic. It's not over yet. So alleviating or eradicating disease, or working for environment, or making some livelihood projects, or giving supports to the people in need, it's a gigantic, huge responsibility. So as a Rotary leader, international president, how do you see the overall global situation right now in terms of the challenges we are facing now?
Well, certainly it's been an incredibly challenging 2.5+ years, and every man, woman, and child on our planet had to go through the pandemic, and we're not, as you say, we're not out of it. But I'm really proud of what our members were able to do during the entire pandemic and still continue to do. I like to say that when the world stepped down, Rotary stepped up, and that was because even though our members were isolated, as we all were in our homes, they were orchestrating how to get PPE to the front lines, how to make sure that ventilators were available, looking after social isolation of people in communities, the mental health issues that are associated with it, food security issues, providing food for people in the communities where it was needed. And so we have been incredibly active through the entire pandemic, making sure that we're looking out for our communities. And that's because we exist in more than 200 countries and geographical areas, so we are community. When you think of community, Rotary is there, taking care of the people in the community. And so right now, with our public health infrastructure that we've built in more than 70 countries around the world to tackle polio eradication, we were able to utilize that public health infrastructure during COVID. And so we had thousands of frontline workers who were able to not only continue contact tracing that they were doing for polio, but now for COVID, and surveillance work, the critical surveillance work that needed to be done. So we really have leveraged the assets that we have to make sure that we're taking care, particularly through COVID. It's been something that we're immensely proud of.
You're talking about polio eradication.
Yes.
It's about to be eradicated from the globe. Few countries, especially Pakistan and Afghanistan. You've just been from Pakistan.
Yes.
What's your experience there?
So there's 2 endemic countries, as you just mentioned. Those are the last ones remaining. We had 4, but we were able to take India off the list just over a decade ago. And 3 years ago, we were able to declare, just over 3 years ago, Nigeria wild polio virus free, which meant the entire African nation was able to be off the endemic list. So we have these 2 countries left. It is, when we talk about the low case count, 18, 19 cases that exist in the world, that sounds like it should be so easy to just take care of them and move it along. But it's still going to take many billions of dollars to make sure that we cross the finish line and that every last child is immunized. Because until that's gone, children everywhere are vulnerable. And as we see, it's a plane ride away. We see a case right now in New York. We have vaccine-derived cases in Mozambique and Malawi. It needs to be completely eliminated. So I was
Any apprehension for returning the polio where it has already been eradicated?
Absolutely. I mean, going into New York, we haven't seen polio in the United States. I'm from Canada, but in the United States for decades, to the point where some children are not being immunized because it's gone, but it's not. And so it gets into the water system and it's very easily transmissible. And if anyone is not immunized, they are at risk. So we are committed, our Rotary family, along with our partners in polio eradication. And so that's the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, the WHO, UNICEF, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance. And so I was in Pakistan, one of the 2 endemic countries, meeting with the heads of the military there, where they're deploying more than 65,000 troops for our next National Immunization Day, which will start in August, meeting with senior officials, health ministers, and the National Emergency Operations Center to see exactly, what are the final things that we need to do. And one of the really most significant parts of the trip there was our gender strategy. Frontline female health workers are the ones who are going to get this job done because they're able to go door to door and mom to mom and create trust with each other. And so one woman to another saying, your child needs to be immunized. Can I provide this for you? And so for me, it was a chance to meet with many of them and to offer 2 very simple yet profound words: thank you. And so I did have a chance to sit with many of them and to hear what they experience, and that there is, it's not easy work that they're doing. It requires security, there's harassment, there's all different things that they find and experience in the field. And so that opportunity to thank them, because we will not get it done without them. And it's going to take some additional effort, but the end of transmission right now, we're looking at the end of 2023, then 3 years that we have to still immunize more than 400 million children a year. And after a 3-year window, that means we can actually certify to be wild polio virus free. And if we can get both Pakistan and Afghanistan off of that, keep it out of the rest of the world, that'll be a day that we're going to celebrate.
Do you expect any international recognition for the contribution Rotary is making in eradicating polio?
Well, we started this campaign more than 30 plus years ago and then brought all of these different partners on. Everyone brings something different to the table. For our Rotary family, we bring advocacy to our governments. We're constantly working to raise funds. We've raised over $2.6 billion. We've immunized more than 2.5 billion children. And so this for us is very personal. Our members are in the field. They travel to these countries where immunizations need to continue. It's very personal work for us, and it's not for recognition, but I think when we're done, I anticipate and expect that not only Rotary will be recognized, but along with our partners, because we're not doing it alone.
Absolutely.
No one of those partners could go at it alone.
Jennifer, coming back to the polio again, I mean, resources is a huge challenge. This is a huge problem. So I heard that you have been working, relentlessly working to raise funds for this purpose. $115 million is target to to raise, how it's possible, and what are the responses, how you are getting response from all around the world?
Sure. Well, Rotarians, our Rotary family and Rotaractors, every year we have to raise $50 million, which is then matched 2 to 1 by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So that totals $150 million a year that we're responsible for through our membership.
Okay.
But then the advocacy to government. So for example, I work directly with the leadership of my own country in Canada and negotiated a $190 million donation to the campaign a couple of years ago. We're right now going back to look at what the next installment of that could be. So working with our national leaders in many countries, Australia, the United States, Norway, many of these are very generous donor countries because they appreciate and understand that international development work is a critical part of the fabric of what they offer to their citizens and to the world. And so we spend a lot of time working with, as I say, different levels of government to collect these funds, and that's a big part of what our organization is responsible for in this partnership.
Let's talk about something related to Bangladesh
Yes.
and the reality we are facing. You were here in the invitation of District 3281, this is one of the biggest district. In fighting disease, in eradicating poverty, or alleviating environmental challenges, or livelihood issues, or empowering women folks, or the girls, is definitely challenge for all over the world, especially countries like Bangladesh. So how you would inspire or motivate the Rotarians in Bangladesh to get involved themselves vigorously in fighting disease or doing something good for the society and the people in need?
Well, part of the reason that I'm here is that this is an environment, an area of very passionate Rotary members, Rotarians, Rotaractors, Interactors, our youth movement. And so being here in one of the fastest growing areas of our Rotary world, where the generosity of our Rotary family here is incredible. They understand that by harnessing our foundation that is rated 5 stars on Charity Navigator, that is the economic engine of how we do our work. Our members donate to our foundation and then they get funds back to be able to do the large scale projects that they're doing and in their own community. So this is what's most significant, is that they do projects. They look around and say, what's the need? You mentioned empowering girls. Well, there's tons of empowering girl projects that are going on because as far as I'm concerned, empowered girls become empowered women. And that is a program that we've done now for about the past year and a half. It really truly is making great strides. Looking at clean water, certainly in areas such as Bangladesh, this is an issue, making sure that every man, woman, and child has access to something that is life. Water is life. So our clubs around here are doing wonderful projects. So the opportunity to be here, to offer thanks, to cheerlead them a little bit, to help them understand that what they're doing is wonderful, and more than anything as well, to raise awareness for our organization here, because even though it's one of the fastest growing areas of the Rotary world, it can still grow more. When you think of the millions of people in the country here that, certainly there are people who want to do service, that's something that touches their hearts. And being part of a membership organization like ours that gives agency to our members to be able to do good in the world, I think there's lots of people who would like to do that.
When you talk about Imagine Rotary,
yes,
to me, I understand that this is something that, reaching out to the new horizon, creating some new atmosphere for the people. So how do you explain it?
Sure. Well, every year we have a presidential theme, and for me, the theme this year is Imagine Rotary. And what I want out of that, what I dream and hope for, is that it gives people the license to dream and to think about what they can do. That, when you're laying there with your head on your pillow and you think, gosh, there's something, I feel the need to tackle this, or I want to tackle that, that you can dream about what that is and then go to a club with like-minded people and say, I've got this idea. And someone else is going to say, it's a good idea, and then somebody else does. And then it's like, well, let's do it. And so, we're people of action, people of purpose, people of influence. And because of that, we're the leaders of our community. And when we want to get something done, everyone in our club has the opportunity to open a door to someone who's going to help us be able to do that.
It's all about innovating something or educating the people in the society and communicate your thoughts to the people, something new you have.
Well, telling our story is a big part of what I believe in, because I believe that when you tell folks what we're doing, they want to join with us. And so it's our best tool to engaging people, to attracting them to our organization. And that's a large part of how I'm focusing presidential travel this year, is going to these areas where we've got world-class programs and taking along top-tier media, influencers, thought leaders, television crews with me to showcase what we're doing through print media, through television, through radio, and social being a big part of that. Because when people can see what we're doing, not only is the rest of the world going, oh, wow, that's what Rotary's doing? That's amazing. But when our members see those stories being told, it helps to create pride, to go, I belong to something this amazing. And to hear that, I think it helps validate our efforts and what we do every day.
So as a storyteller, I know you're a wonderful storyteller. So you inspire your members to tell their stories, to expand the message of Rotary so that they get motivated and vigorously contribute for the society. Is that something?
Yes, and let me give you a simple, very quick story. The water and sanitation, big part of what we do. Many members are very passionate about this. You can tell the story through the number of people who don't have access to clean water, the number of children that die every year because of that. You can tell facts and figures. But if I told you the story of a good friend of mine doing clean water projects in the Dominican Republic and Haiti, year after year going and putting in wells. And one day he and his colleague were standing there at a well, and one of the village elders walked up. And she said, when the well was built, the children stopped dying. Do you need to hear anything more than that? When the well was built, the children stopped dying.
Stopped dying.
That's what we do. We save lives, we change lives. And sometimes the lives changed are ourselves. Because when you're doing work like that, it makes you a better person.
Jennifer, some of the other thoughts I've just learned from different literatures that you are thinking about diversity in the society and something related to equity. Establishing equity is a big dream for all of us, and also inclusion. I mean, taking all, nobody leave behind, nobody should not be leave behind. So how to balance, how to make that society where diversity, inclusion or equity being established?
Well, certainly,
these are very big dreams.
It is, and certainly serving as our organization's first woman president in 117 plus years, it gives me the opportunity to talk not only about diversity, equity, and inclusion, but diverse perspective, because that's the strength of our organization. We bring together people, we're non-religious, non-political, but so we're able to bring together people from all races, cultures, languages, gender, ages, all of these different things to solve the world's most pressing challenges. And some of that really is about diversity, equity, and inclusion as well. We're diverse by the fact that we exist in more than 200 countries and geographical areas, but we're not sometimes at the community level. And what we really advocate is looking around our communities and making sure that we're a reflection of our community, that we all don't look at things through one lens, that there's a kaleidoscope of opinion around the table and different reference. Now, with equity and inclusion, knocking down barriers where they exist. Does that mean in some areas that perhaps women don't join a club? How do we address that? Are there issues for someone who has a disability to be able to join our club because we meet in a restaurant that doesn't have an elevator, for example? How do we look at breaking down barriers so that everyone can show up as their authentic selves? Okay. Now, we're not looking to throw the doors wide open to everyone joining. We're looking for people of excellence. We want community leaders. We want people who, as I say, are people of purpose and influence, but want to get things done. But we need to make sure that we are inclusive and that we take care of our members in our clubs. So these are buzzwords. Right now, diversity, equity, and inclusion sometimes gets put into that basket of being buzzword sort of focused. That's not what it is for us. These are authentic ways that we live our life as members of Rotary.
But are you really convinced about the potential the Rotarians have and the Rotary community have? Can they really productively or meaningfully can translate these, the power they have and see the actualize their real goals and objectives they're trying to achieve actually?
Well, I think as community leaders and problem solvers, that's exactly what we do. We do it in our own businesses, and then we take ourselves into our Rotary life and we apply those same principles there. So we know how to get things done. We're the kind of folks that, when you ask a busy person to do something, they get it done. That's what you have in 1.4 million Rotary members around the world, people who take action, who want things done, who are looking after their communities. And for us, our community is our world.
Any enrollment challenges, increasing membership?
Well, in certain parts of the world, we see a little bit of decline. In some parts of the world, like Bangladesh, we see extraordinary growth. And again, one of the reasons I'm here to say yay. Also to learn, how is that happening? How is that positive growth being realized and actualized? So we have seen a net growth in our organization this year for the first time in more than 6 years. And I really do think that the pandemic is vastly behind that. People, I think, are reprioritizing their lives and saying, you know what, it's not all about working hard. It's about doing things that feed and nourish us as individuals, as human beings. And this is one incredible way to be able to do that, because when you're helping out someone, like I said earlier, it changes perhaps their life, but it changes ours too, because we know that we're doing something good, and that feels good. And I think everyone wants more of that right now.
What's the message you'd like to extend to the Rotarians in Bangladesh?
Well, to the Rotary family here, I am so proud of what they're doing with their projects, with their growth, with their support of our foundation. It is unprecedented for this area. And so to be able to get together, many of them I'll be seeing over the next 3.5 days, and that opportunity to say thank you and to continue doing more, to encourage them, to champion them, and to cheerlead the activities and interests that they have.
And to bring more members into this Rotary family, what suggestions you would like to put forward for them?
Well, you know what? One of the things, and thank you for having me on your program, because one of the things that's important about this is you've got viewers who are able to hear who we are and what we do. And so the challenge would be, if any of this resonates with someone who's watching, reach out to a local Rotary club and ask, if you might join a meeting, if you might be interested in participating in a project, if you want to be a participant or a sponsor or a donor to one of our events. This is all things that our local Rotary club would love to hear. So hopefully by raising awareness for what it is that we're doing, that we're going to see more growth in our organization.
This is a situation, this is a time where the global unrest in terms of economic reality. So, there are certain constraints created due to pandemic, and also Ukraine war also pose some serious threat for economic uncertainty around the world. So, in the midst of such challenging time, what suggestions you'd like to give the policymakers how to incorporate or how to engage the organizations like Rotary and other charitable organizations who can really contribute and meaningfully engage with the policymakers and the authorities?
Well, because we are civic leaders in our organization, we have the ability to open doors, even unlike many of our governments. And so when disaster strikes, for example, whether it's man-made or natural, the war in Ukraine is a great example. Our members automatically, within weeks, days, raised more than $15 million. We're putting that money directly into the front line to families, mothers and children in particular, in the bordering countries around there, to make sure that they have food, that they have shelter, that they're taken care of. Shelter Box, which is an organization that provides shelter to different disasters, and there are just so many of them, was started by Rotary members. And so when a hurricane happens, an earthquake happens, something that displaces people from their homes, we harness that energy to make sure that we're taking care of people who are in crisis and in need. So like I said, because we look at the world as our community, when something happens in another country, it's not a foreign thing to someone like us. It means that we know people there. I remember the day that there was the massive explosion in Lebanon, and I was, in a meeting that morning and getting messages from, on private messenger, this person was involved, and, your heart just, you
Shattered.
just, exactly, and knowing that these are people we know, and so someone's pain somewhere else in the world is not foreign. When someone is hurting, we all
common,
hurt.
shared.
We all hurt, absolutely. And so the ability to take action and do something, to me, that's one of the best parts of our organization, is knowing that it isn't some far off land that perhaps needs our aid or attention. It is someone that I can pick up the phone, I can send a message. We were trying when everything shut down in Afghanistan, really a year ago, this upcoming week, I received a private message early in the morning from a Rotarian in England letting me know of a woman who was in harm's way, was in a very dangerous situation. And through our Rotary network, we're able to get her onto an evacuation list and within 24 hours out of the country. I would have never in my wildest dreams thought, who am I to make something like that happen? But that's the power of our organization. We're connected every single place in the world. And so when we need something done, we can open doors.
We can open doors, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So hopefully you are taking back cherishing memories back home. from
I am
Bangladesh.
very much doing that and learning. So when I leave a country like this, it gives me that opportunity to speak with real knowledge of what's going on, and the people who are here, the beauty of the people who are here, being able to share that with others and encouraging more collaboration everywhere that we go.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, President Jennifer Jones.
Thank you for your
joining me.
time.
Yeah, my pleasure. Deeply honored. Thank you so much. Dear viewers, that's all my conversation with President of Rotary International, Jennifer Jones. Yes, she has vision, she has action plan, she has some strategic priorities, and creating an imagination about incorporating, about engaging the Rotary fraternity, Rotary family into the well-being of society. Especially she lauded the role and the performance of Rotary Bangladesh, their contribution for the society in fighting poverty, in fighting disease, and in protecting environment, in facing public health challenges, and empowering women folks, girls in Bangladesh, in water, sanitation, in many atmosphere of life. And we deeply appreciated her visit in Bangladesh, and we hope that the Rotary International will be supporting Bangladesh in our needs, in our challenges, the problems or the situations we are facing now. So thank you very much for watching this show, and we invite you to watch our next episode. Until then, to take care and goodbye.